2, 1. And I'm live with Julie Mango. Woo!
Hi.
How have you been? It's been a minute.
Good. It's been a couple days since I've seen
It's been
you.
a couple of days. I mean, of course, we had a whole a pre-interview conversation, which was just
Yes,
pretext
we
to hang
did.
up, to catch up.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So, what have you been reading recently? Just one book. Just one.
Books? I'm actually currently reading a book I found on Libby. It's called Dead Girls Walking. It's a thriller, horror type thing. I don't usually read that stuff, but
Right.
one of my
Which
goals,
one's thriller or horror?
both thriller, horror. I don't
Right.
know.
Oh.
I don't really read thriller or horror or anything like that. And one of my goals for 2024 was that I would branch out into more genres. So I
Right.
found this one while browsing on Libby. It's queer and black. Like all the characters are black queer
Right.
leads. Like it's just like it's about this girl, she goes to a camp that's like a horror camp for like queer horror loving teens, and she's there because her father was a serial killer and she thinks someone killed her mother. She doesn't know if it was her father or who, so she's there to
Right.
like find the body of her mother. Is this how we should start a stream talking about murder?
I mean, you're talking about what's new to you. So,
True, but it's
right.
going
And that
good, it's
was the
going good.
question we asked.
I'm only
Right.
a third of the way into it, and it's going really good.
Right.
Like it just started getting like I'm reading, like I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? It's going good. It's going good.
Right. Now, I mean, we've been friends from before, but I have been
Mhm.
following a lot of your commentary on books, the way you present books and so on. And I remember you saying that you're not a quick reader,
Mhm.
right? So how does, I mean, and a lot of people were complaining that they're not quick enough, they can't do this, but you have done this very successfully. So what tips would you
Yeah.
give for a slow reader?
Honestly, the biggest tip is to you have to commit to it. You have to commit to reading. So I read for an hour every day.
Right.
And I have to carve that hour out and sit down and commit to it, because
Right.
I am a very distracted reader as well. I I have timed myself to see how long it takes me to finish a book, and it takes me about 4 hours to finish a book, which is not like that's quite fast. I just don't ever sit
Right.
down for 4 hours. Like I can't do it. I sit down
Right.
for 10 minutes and then I'm like, no, I have to do something else. I have to do something else. So I try to commit, and for me, the time is usually before bed. So I will sit down and I will read for 1 hour, and it really helps me get through
Right.
books. For the year so far, I have read 50, which is not a lot for some people, and is also a lot for some
For
people.
other people,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I can do 50 books in a year easily, but then that's
Mhm.
because of how I read.
Yeah.
Right. I would probably take like 2.5 to 3 hours to finish a 50K novel. Right.
Yeah.
But then I read sci-fi fantasy. So those are
Yeah.
starting at 90K. So it
Yeah.
gets up there. It
It's
gets
a
up
big
there.
genre. It's a thick genre.
Thick. I like my genres thick. So we have gotten quite a bit of books out of you. Like when Kara and I were doing the book club,
Hmm.
we'd be on your Instagram like, what did Julie read recently? What's really spark? You were like the unofficial and unofficial official
That's
member of the
so
group.
funny. I did guest appearance for one stream. It's the one that's no longer
Yes,
there, but
we got a
I was a
copyright
guest.
strike because
Yeah,
of
it
it.
was my fault. It was my
Yeah,
fault. It was my fault. I had to
yeah.
play the song, you know.
Yeah, but I feel like when you played this song, it kind of gave the other
It
members
did. I
that
saw the
they're like,
moment where they
oh
were like,
yeah,
"Oh,
that makes
okay."
sense. Because again, the book in question is Star Daughter.
Yes.
right? It has one of the most beautiful covers out there,
Yes.
right? It's a book that relied a lot. I don't want to say relied a lot, but it was so, it got by on vibes and aesthetics.
Mhm.
It had no pictures inside the books, but it got by on vibes and
Very,
aesthetics.
very beautiful imagery. The writing was so pretty. It was
Yeah,
really nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
She's up
mentioned it
there,
in my Instagram post where I had
right?
like 10 books to know me because it's such a book about me. It's Bollywood and I'm Bollywood, you know?
Right. Yeah. And you also sing.
Yeah, I used to.
Used to. Okay, okay. Well, I'm not gonna touch you. But I do know you used to sing.
Yeah.
I mean, I am looking for like an intro song, so if you start that. Yeah. So 10 books to know me. Do
Yeah.
you have that up and available?
No, I can pull it up. I have my phone here.
Right.
Yes, here are my 10 books to know me. It's on my Instagram. Yes. So, do you have a 10 books to know me or did you do the other one, the other challenge?
I am currently working on my challenge. I did have it like
Mm-hmm.
on, I had it on my index cards and it was all pretty and
Mm-hmm.
I did it up with markers and so on. Because how was I going to do a stream? And then now I can't find it because I'm very scatterbrained. So I started it over, but I do know, but I did put in the work for it. So I know a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good, good, good.
Right. So let's go with your 10 books.
Okay.
Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. A
That book
classic.
is like the representation of my childhood.
Right.
It's still so important to me.
Right.
I can't explain the feelings I have because of this book. You know? The
Right.
second book, we have Voice Like a Hyacinth. This book is not out yet. This is an arc that I read in
Hmm.
July, I think.
Right.
I feel like this author, Mallory Pearson, went into my brain and soul and pulled this book out of
Hmm.
because this book was written for me. It's about
Personally.
these this group of queer art students and they do a little witchy ritual sacrifice, to be successful in their school, as one does. Like we all do it, you know.
Everybody has
And
their little rituals.
then, of course, horrible things start happening, and they're like, "Oh my god,
Right.
what's going on?" And the eldritch horrors that they have now resurrected are coming for
Right.
them. And it's like, this is about me. Like we've all been through this, you know. I relate. I know you relate.
Right. Yeah.
But I love this
Yeah.
book so much. It's coming out in January, I think. So
Okay.
I will be
Take a
posting
look
more
out.
about it. Yeah, coming close
Right.
to the date because I think everybody needs to read this book. It is so good. It's so good.
The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman.
So I genuinely believe this trilogy, his Dark Materials, the
Right.
Golden Compass, the Amber Spyglass, and the Subtle Knife, I think
Hmm.
this trilogy changed my brain chemistry and changed my life. And I'm talking like when I was like 11 years old. But
Right.
I really, I don't know what it is. There was something in that book, something magic or something. But it was so impactful on me and it really led me on a path. I mean, I'm gonna say it led me on a path of reading, but I've always been on a path of reading since I
Right.
could read.
Right.
Nancy Drew, we read in Dr. Seuss, we read in whatever since
Oh
we're small,
yeah.
right? But this book
Right.
series, I have it right behind me. It's right there on the shelf.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorites all time. Okay, the next
What
one
do you
is
think about so the book? There's a movie and there's a series. What do you think of
the
those?
movie does not exist to me. It is in the same category as the Avatar, the last Airbender movie that we do not talk about. They
What
never made a
movie?
movie,
They
right?
never
They,
did.
they never did.
Oh, it's
The
just two
series,
series. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the series that they did for his Dark Materials, I think it was so well done. I really, really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I watched it recently. It was so good.
Oh
Really
yeah.
good.
Yeah. The actress that plays Lyra, she was also Logan's daughter
Yes.
in the movie Logan,
Yeah.
and I think she's one of the greats. I think she's one to
I think she's
watch.
fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she does these action roles, and she brings such emotion to the role, even though it's quote unquote
Yeah.
just she does a really great job. Yeah.
I love her.
This is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone and Amal El Mohtar.
I don't know if I can talk about this book without like crying. This book, I you have to read this. Everybody has to read this book. Please, if you take anything from this stream, read this book. Please, please, I'm begging you. This book was my favorite book of last year. It was like number
Right.
one, and I read it. I think it was the last book I read for the year, and it was, oh my goodness, beautiful. It's so heartbreaking, and
Mm.
it's just, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of complicated to explain. I don't want to ruin anything. Please read the book.
Right. So just read the book.
Read the
Read the
book.
book. Okay. Star Daughter, we were speaking about that.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So she discovers in this one, she discovers that she's more than she thought she was.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She knew her history. She knew everything.
Yes.
She was she knew upfront everything that she needed to know, and she still had more to discover. Was still way more intrigued than she initially thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, we spoke about that. A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. Tell
So
me.
this
Talk to
one,
me.
I think it's a duology. It's called the Monk and Robot series, and it's a Psalm
Mm-hmm.
for the Wild Built and a Prayer for the Crown Shy is book two.
Right.
It is, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you've ever read this. It's solar punk.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sweet. I know you love solar punk. Like
Yeah.
this, I don't know
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
haven't read this. And it's very short. It's a very it's like a novella. It's not even
Mm-hmm.
like a full like long ass. I think it's 200 pages or maybe less. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Very short, very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's the future that I want to live in.
Right.
It's the future
Yeah.
that I want for the
Mm-hmm.
future generations because I know we can't have it now the way things go
Yeah.
in, but I want to make this future.
There's a maybe. There's a maybe. Yeah. Like Solar Punk is a fairly recent addition for me.
Yes.
Right. I know like the cyberpunks and the other,
Hmm.
the other types of sci-fi, but it's new and I've really been enjoying it. But I will definitely add it to my list. Moving on, The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak.
This is another book that made my teenage years, and I actually found in my Facebook memories a while ago. You know, Facebook always showing you the weird crap from your
Yeah,
childhood.
yeah, yeah.
Showed me a memory from like I don't know how long ago, like 12, 13 years ago maybe, of me reading this book for the first time and like live blogging it on Facebook and being like, oh my
Right,
God, I don't know if I can recover from reading this book. And it's still so impactful. I have it on my shelf there
right.
again, somewhere in the back
Yeah,
there. I love this series. I think it's like a classic. I think it's a
yeah.
modern classic. I think everybody should read this book.
All right. And Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon.
The main character, Asta, she's me. She's me for
Right.
real. She is autistic, queer, living on a giant ship because this is a like post-apocalyptic dystopian
Right.
sci-fi world where she's living on a
Mm-hmm.
huge mothership that is so far into its journey that there's generations and generations and generations of people on this ship.
A generation ship. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is
Yeah.
just, oh my goodness, beautiful and so sad and so good and just it's, oh my goodness, it's from my soul. I'm gonna say this about every book here, but that's the whole point of these. These are 10
That's
books
it.
to
I mean,
know me,
to know
you
me,
know?
right?
Yeah.
Yes. And the last but not least, Ninth House by Lee Bardugo.
We skipped Game of Thrones, but it's okay. We can skip
Oh
Game
wait,
of
no, no, no.
Thrones.
Oh shucks.
We can
Game of
skip Game
Thrones.
of
Yes. What
Thrones.
about? I was gonna ask what Game of Thrones.
I put Game of Thrones when I should have put the first three books, but
Right.
these books were very
It's
impactful for me as a
mm-hmm,
writer.
mm-hmm.
This is as a writer and not just a reader. I think
Right.
when I first read these books, I read them way too young. I read these books at 14. Please don't let your children read these books. This is what happens when your parents don't pay attention to the stuff that you're reading. I was reading these books at 13 and 14 years old in Form 2 and Form 3 in a Catholic school too. Yeah.
Actually, the more you tell people don't let your children read it, and they'll do everything. And I'm speaking from experience. They will
Yeah.
do everything to prevent you from reading those books, and those are the books that you will find. Those are the
Yeah.
books those are the books I sought out. And I wasn't
Yeah.
13 and 14. I wasn't as old and gray and decrepit as you were when I read some similar
Yeah.
books. I was
Yeah.
8 when I read It by Stephen
Yeah.
King, right? And this was nobody's fault. This wasn't my parents' fault. This wasn't the fault of the cousin who owned the books, the Stephen King books. It wasn't anybody's fault, right? I saw it. You have a book that you want to read? Yes. Which book you want? Which book you have there? Well, I have the Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes. All right, that's good. Come. Yes, I had the Sherlock Holmes, but I also had it
Yeah. I
because
was
you know,
also one of those children that would just go and pick up a book, like from somebody's shelf.
yeah.
I'm in your house and I'm like, okay, I'm bored. What books you have? You know?
I'm
And
not
I
bored.
was reading
That's the whole
all
reason
kind
I'm there.
of
I'm not bored. I'm in your house. You have books, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to read your books. That's probably why we were even friends in the first place, right? I'm in your house because you have books. Of course, I'm gonna pick them up.
Have you ever
I'm
been
gonna
in my
look and
house? Yeah, you have.
yes, I think for a Christmas
Yeah.
line.
One of my Christmas limes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a pop in and pop out.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to dig
So
up
I
too
have
much.
books. Come and dig up in my
Yeah,
books.
I will. I will. I mostly have it on my Kindle because you've moved and
Yeah.
well, children. So
Yeah.
I've like mostly children's books in physical copy,
Yeah.
right? But I will lend you my Kindle,
I will
which
lend
is
you
like the
my
same
Kindle.
thing. Well, look at that. We'll do a Kindle. Why don't we do a Kindle
Let's
swap
do a
sometime?
Kindle swap. Wait, that's a good
Yeah.
idea. We
Yeah,
should
Kindle
do
swap
that.
coming. So we did Game of Thrones, and now we will wrap up with what I
Yes.
promised earlier: Ninth House by Lee Bardugo.
I love dark academia. I
Right.
love occult anything,
Mm-hmm.
and this book
Right.
is those things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many other books I wanted to include in this, but I was like, let me just like pick one thing from each like genre, each facet of myself. I'll just pick one book to represent. And
Right.
this was what I chose to represent my obsession with dark academia. You may not know this, nobody else knows this. I have a Tumblr blog that's just like dark academia, and all I do is reblog dark academia aesthetic photos. And this book is like so up my alley for that stuff. I know it's
Mhm.
not well received. A lot of people don't like it. I like
Right.
it. It's for
What is it
me.
about? Sorry. What is it about dark academia that draws you to it?
I have no idea. I have always had this like weird fixation with the New England region of the US. My aunt used to live in Vermont and I visited her there. And I was obsessed with the area and the
Mm-hmm.
house and the everything and just how everything looks and how everything feels. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it here. This is what I want to be. This is where I want to be when I grow up, you know? Like I had this weird obsession and I still do. Like I just like the aesthetic of it. Like how the autumn season looks. I've never actually seen autumn or winter, but that aesthetic of like the leaves turning orange and like you're wearing like cozy boots and sweaters. I live in the Caribbean. Why do I care about this?
You want to experience nature's air conditioning. That's what I
I
think it is.
do. I do. My air conditioning it's working well because I got it fixed a few days ago.
Right.
It's
Right. Oh,
freezing
that's
right
good.
now, but I want to go outside and I want to experience that, pumpkin spice latte weather.
Pumpkin spice weather. Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay, what do you think? Like, if someone were to set a dark academia novel work in the Caribbean or in Trinidad,
Where we is Yui? We in campus in SBCS.
SBCS campus, like some fictional set, like a fictional setting, but Caribbean.
I
What would
I
that
think
look
that's one of
like
the
to you?
reasons. I think that's one of the reasons I'm obsessed with like the dark academia university thing because I didn't get to
Hmm.
experience that. Like I went to SBCS. I was jumping in a maxi every day. I wasn't living on campus. Like I didn't have that
Right.
kind of lifestyle like you see in movies where they're like on campus in the university and they no, I was just taking a maxi and heading down the road to oh my god, look. I see comments now.
Yes,
That's
they're the only
candy. I
pumpkin
agree. It sounds so
spice you'll
crazy.
need. One pumpkin spice weather too.
Yes,
Correct. Correct.
I want that weather. But yeah, I
Pumpkin
never
spice
got to
weather.
experience that university, like
Mm-hmm.
living on campus kind of vibe. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of the reasons I have that like fascination with the dark academia aesthetic
Right.
and like studying and like I mean I was studying but like it was very boring. I was just in my house. I wasn't living in a dorm. I wanted to live in a dorm.
Right. You wanted to get up to shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have read. I know you've read Space Between Worlds, right? I saw it on your 54321 challenge,
Yes.
right? So the 54321 challenge is 5 books I've loved recently, 4 of my auto buy authors, meaning as long as it's their writing, you're buying.
Yes.
3 tropes I like, 2 books
Yes.
on my TBR, and 1 current read.
Yes.
Right. So I loved the challenge. I loved it. I
Okay, let
loved
me
it.
hear
I
yours.
loved
Let me
it.
hear yours. Mine is on
All right.
Instagram already, but let me hear yours.
All right. So let me pull that one up. So my 5 books that I've loved recently, I've done Saints of Storm and Sorrow, which was Gabriella's book. I
Hmm.
love Nabil's book recently as well, and that was To Love You in the Light of Other Stars, right? So those are 2 of my recent reads. I read Skin Thief, which I'm interviewing Susan Palumbo next week.
Yes,
By the
I
way,
saw. I saw.
hey, I'm so excited. I've been loving her on Twitter for so long,
Yeah, I
right?
know. I know.
So
I know.
anyway, I'm currently loving her book, Skin Thief. Um, my favorite, it's a collection of stories, and one of them is called The Kill Jar. I did not know where that story was gonna go, and it's like all of her works are about becoming something else. She even has
Hmm.
one story of a mermaid becoming human, and it's treated
Ooh.
like it was the person was shedding their scales
Hmm.
and their tail was splitting and they had trouble breathing because their gills started to close up. They were becoming human.
I love that. I love that imagery. That's horrific.
It's terrible. I loved every second of it. And but she is a horror writer,
Hmm.
right? I'm not gonna spoil it because I really want you to read it,
I will
right?
read it.
Right. And I have there's another one about 2 books on your TBR. I have her current book. Her book. No, the last one is books I'm currently reading. I have Countess. I'm doing Countess, and I'm gonna see if I can get it wrapped up in time for her. Um, so the 5 books I've loved recently, I did. That's Gabby's book. That's Nabil's book. Susan's book. I was rereading Space Between Worlds,
Oh, I
right?
want to
I did a
reread. I want to do a
reread.
reread. I
Yeah, I
have
did a
to because
reread.
I have to read the second book, so I have to reread the
Yes,
first
and that
one.
is exactly why I did a reread,
Yes.
because I was like, I have to get all the details right. I have to get all for
Yes.
when this happens. So I'm actually waiting for you to do those Beyond the Walls. So
Okay.
hurry up, hurry up,
Yeah.
hurry
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Talk to me.
I will.
Hurry
I
up,
will. I
hurry up.
will. I'm by it yet.
Right?
I will. I will. I will. The
Yeah,
month
yeah,
end.
yeah. And the last one, right? I
Mm-hmm.
have oh my god, I read it and I forgot it. I started reading the series about the girl who Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I read
Oh,
that.
I read the first one, and I don't think I've read the rest.
I saw the
I thought
show.
it was okay. Yeah, I thought it was okay. It
I saw the
was a nice
show and
book.
I loved it. I
Oh, I didn't
loved
see the
it. I
show. I didn't
really
see the
loved
show.
it. I looked at her and I was like,
Oh.
she's me.
I saw the trailer,
She is
but
me.
I think I read it so long ago, like a few years ago, that I don't really remember.
Yeah.
But I
I
might
found it.
reread.
Yeah. I found it afterwards when I saw the
Mm-hmm.
clips and I was like, oh Miguel, I want to watch this. So we started and watched that together. And then we were like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This is, so I went looking it up to see, well, if there's going to be another season. And that's when I found it was going to be a book. It is a book. And
Yeah.
that, there are other books in the series. So I got that one. I
Mm-hmm.
read it. So I love that book. So those were my recent reads. Four of my authors, Micaiah Johnson,
Yes, same.
right?
Same.
Aliette de Bodad. Aliette is Citadel of Weeping Pearls.
I don't think I know that. Do I know that?
It was and we were all simping over
Oh. Okay, yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. Why did I forget his name? Zuko's dad in the live action. Hot guy,
Dante
cheekbones.
Basco.
No, Dante
No, that's
Basco's
Zuko.
dad. Dad in the live action.
I can't remember. You said Zuko, and all I could think is Dante Basco. Oh, yes.
Fire Lord
Oh.
Ozai. Fire Lord
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ozai.
Him.
Played by, and I'll say his name, right?
Hmm.
Daniel Day Kim. Or as I've
Yes.
been calling him, Daniel Bay Kim. It's like, so he can't have a little genocide as a treat, because it's my pretty boy, right? So we were kind of like, we gave him that face claim for that
Hmm.
series, for that particular book.
Hmm.
Vietnamese culture in space.
Ooh.
Yeah. It ends on a cliffhanger. And it's within a universe, but
Why?
it ends on a cliffhanger. Because it's part of a wider universe.
Are there
So,
other books out yet?
yep. Oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. I'm taking my time to it's taking all of my reserve to not just only buy her books, because her writing is so pretty. I need to do other books in between. I
No, I
can't
know the
just.
feeling. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. I
And she's
feel
been
it
a
for
writer
you.
before I was, yeah. So she has like other books before I was a fan. So so that those are that is one of my authors, right?
Felt.
How many? Yeah. So those are so that
That's only
three
two.
tropes. Oh, so who is Micaiah, her,
Right. Right.
and Jordan Fuego.
Okay. But four. Another one.
Micaiah. I did Micaiah. I did Aliet. I did Micaiah, Aliet. Who else I said? Oh my god, what is going on with me?
We need a secretary taking notes.
Oh
Taking notes.
yeah,
Let's
I
take
did
notes. Somebody call the cast.
yeah, Jordan Fuego
Hmm.
and um why am I seeing that name but I'm not remembering?
We can come back to it. Do
Yeah,
your three.
there's a mystery writer. There's a mystery writer and I could never remember her
I
name.
believe you. I believe you. I'm sure. I'm sure they exist.
Right. So look, some random. She writes New Orleans mysteries.
Hmm.
She's a detective in New Orleans.
Okay.
Um,
I like
yeah,
a detective vibe.
yeah. I love detective novels. I love
Me too.
detective
Me too. I mean,
novels.
I grew up on Nancy Drew. I was
Nancy
reading
Drew,
that. I was reading that. Hardy
sweetie,
Boys.
sweetie
I was
pie. We
reading that.
started off with the icon himself, Sherlock Holmes.
I'm
Elementary,
a
my dear
big Sherlock
Watson.
fan. Oh my god.
Sherlock, Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, Secret Seven,
Yes.
Famous Five,
Famous Five.
right? As long as you're in somebody else's business, I am there.
That's
I'm
such a
there.
Trini thing, eh?
You understand? Right. So three tropes that I like. I love heist, anything heist.
Okay, I love heists too.
I love as long as it's a heist. You
It's why I
literally
like
have
Six of
called my
Crows.
name.
I was telling you to read Six of Crows. It's a heist. They're doing a
I'll do that.
heist. And it's six
Nice.
of them.
So this was a theory that I had. This was like an allegedly Hollywood secret that the reason that Ocean's 8 did not do so well is because it was a standalone female heist movie, and they shoehorned it into the Ocean's 11 universe
Hmm.
without bringing back just one person. And that was the acrobat.
Hmm.
And honestly, I loved Ocean's 8. I
I
thought
loved it. It was
I
so
loved it.
fun.
Listen, first of all, Rihanna was involved, hence therefore in conclusion. Love.
She's so hot.
Love. Love. And she was so funny,
Yeah,
right?
she was. Oh my goodness.
And it was a mix of
Hmm.
characters, right?
Yeah.
And there were people would never hang out in real life. And that to me is what made it. No, you could see Rihanna and Aquafina hanging out. Let's be free. Could you see it happening?
I couldn't see anybody hanging out with Aquafina. Let's be honest.
Let's focus on Rihanna. I could see Rihanna taking Helena Bonham Carter shopping though. It's like that's why you're not getting any
Yeah.
invites to the Met because you just dress like that. Let me show you how to
Yeah.
dress and have poor Helena's titties out on the streets. But yeah, like it was really an eclectic mix,
Hmm.
right? I liked Mindy Kaling's character on that show,
Yeah.
on that movie. I loved her character. I thought it was like you could see Indian immigrants working in your family jewelry shop, no kind of recognition. You could see it. It
Hmm.
made sense. Like
Yeah, it
her
did. It
character
did.
made sense. And she fit very, very well. And I think she does really well as a part of an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
She does well. But to say put her as a lead,
She had a show where she was the lead.
Mindy Project.
Yeah. Oh,
It was
it
not all
was.
not all projects are successful. And that one, honestly though, that one was mid. That's mid. It
Yeah.
wasn't
It wasn't.
bad.
It wasn't too
It
bad.
wasn't good, but it wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna come down on a person of color for not being a super elite mega ultra. You know what I mean? Right. Let me just quickly um right. Let me see if I see it quickly. The thing is, I had read that book as
Hmm.
part of an anthology. It was New Orleans based, and there was this one character that stood out to me.
Hmm.
And she lived with her mom, and she would pretend to be like either caterer or maid, and she'd snoop and get her. Yeah, I liked that. I like that. It was like weaponized fastness. So why can't I was reading this book just the other day. I was reading one of these stories just the other day. Why can't I remember it?
It's
I'm going
okay.
to
It's
have to
okay.
I
We'll
am
come
going
back
to.
to it.
I will put up my version on Instagram and I'll tag you, so you'll get
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes. So I have done my four
Mm-hmm.
authors. Three tropes that I like. I said heist,
Mm-hmm.
detective.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, I love a locked room mystery.
Me too. Me too.
Right? I
Oh my
love a locked
goodness.
room mystery. Oh my goodness. Weaponized
But I fast.
fastness. Right? And what other? I like a good found family.
I love found family. That's one of mine in my post. I love found family so much.
And you know what? Because I didn't give you a name for the previous segment, I'm going to give you an additional one that I like.
Yes.
I love when a protagonist and an antagonist are parallel to each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they're both awful, like they both make different
Yeah.
decisions, right? Like a lot of people are saying if they had the power of Superman, they'd be just like Homelander. But it's not about having the power. Look at how he was raised. He was literally treated like an object.
Yeah.
He had no kind of family. He had no attachments to anybody,
Yeah.
right? And so it's so there so it's not about if you had powers, it's about how you were raised, and it's that take on it. But you have two characters who are raised pretty much the same way, or they've been through similar experiences, and they're both,
Mm-hmm.
and they make different choices. So those are the tropes that I love, like parallel protagonist antags.
Mm-hmm.
Two books on my TBR. um Meredith Mooring,
Okay.
right? Hopefully I can get her on. I just have to organize dates. Hopefully. And um there's and what is the other one? I have it. Let me just pull up my Kindle real quick. Today's been a day. Kindle Cloud Reader. So those Beyond the Wall, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Red Site.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, another author that I have,
Mm-hmm.
Beasts of Prey, author Ayana Gray.
Okay.
That trilogy, yeah. So she's another author by. But I was trying to remember one. I wanted to give you a mystery one, and I had it written down, and I can't find it. And yeah, today's a bit of a mess.
Watch and see how you're gonna find it as soon as the stream finish.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi.
Here to support. Only just got home, so I'll have to rewind and watch the rest. Nabil, you are always welcome here in any
Hi.
capacity that you can make it. I appreciate you. Hi. Right? Now let's move on to the others. So those are my two books on TBR and my one current read, Countess by
Okay.
Susan Palumbo. Right? I just wanted to get a lot of her stuff in before our interview next week. So I finished Skin Thief, which was like a collection of like her anthology about becoming about they're all basically just skin thieves, which is
Mm-hmm.
and she uses like a couple other like yeah, she has like some of her characters are definitely Trini,
Yeah.
and she also has from like a couple other cultures like mermaids in particular, as well as yeah. So that one was really good. So those are really good.
I will be checking it out.
Yeah. So so that is my 5 4 3 2 1.
I'm very glad. Yes, no, the House of Leaves. I was telling you, I have Nabil's copy. It's literally right there. I can go and pick it up right now.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
It's right
Mine
there.
is right. Yeah, mine is right there. With his
Mine is
copy
right
of
there. You can
right
see it.
there, right
Right
there.
there.
You know what? How? Hi, Candy. Hi, Candy. It's my
Hi.
personal candy girl. It's my personal. Right. My sweet tooth. I love candies. Right. I bought another one and gave it to Nicole. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So
I'm so sorry.
I am going to. So that is another book that's on my TBR, right? Because I want to read that book, and Nabila and I will have a conversation about it. It's to be spread like a mystery. All
That's
right,
so
but
true.
do we have that? Okay, so Nabil, while I have you here, do I have you? When is your second book dropping? And do we discuss that first, or do you and I you come on the stream and we talk about House of Leaves first? So is it your new book or is it House of Leaves? Your choice. And you don't have to mention anything right now. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm quite certain Nabil is one of those people who are gonna, you go to his house and you find his books and you sit and you read and he's just going to leave you alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you weren't such a good curator of books, nobody would come and pick your books up off the shelf. True or false?
That's true.
It's because you're good.
That's true.
Submitting it hopefully next week. Yes, I'll read that. And if you're going to be writing romance, then what you need to do is two people need to be so in love with each other that they write, that they get tattoos of each other's poetry. Because that's real romance. I can, I'll get you, I'll organize your copy. Elijah Bless in New York.
What's she doing there?
She's just Elijah Bless in New York. So I will definitely be, the mystery begins. Yeah. So those are that's my 5 4 3 2 1
I
as
love
best
it.
as.
Please do it in a post form and put it on your Instagram so I can like
I
it and I
will.
can share it.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll also be doing a breakdown like how you did for threads. This is who I am as a person,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, not just because I wanted to copy the one you did, but because I was doing something domestic related and I was like, oh, this would be funny. Oh, that, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So, doing it to be funny. I mean, that's always. So what was I gonna ask you? So what would you say are your top genres to read?
Fantasy is
Mm-hmm.
like on top, like
Right.
up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sci-fi is like right here,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything else is like kind of. I have romance. There's like I wrote this down. Wait, let me use my notes. I did my notes. Okay, so okay, I actually cataloged. I went on my Storygraph. By the way, do you use Storygraph or do you use Goodreads?
I have been using Goodreads,
I have
right?
stopped using Goodreads. I don't think I ever used Goodreads. I love Storygraph because, fun fact about
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm obsessed with data. I love
Mm.
seeing my data in like charts and graphs and whatever. And Storygraph
Mm.
gives you your data in bar charts and graph and pie pie charts. You know,
Right.
I love that. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I've read 50 books for the year.
Right.
That's 16,400 pages, and of those books, I have read fantasy. Like my categories have been fantasy, romance, literary fiction, contemporary, thriller, sci-fi, historical fiction, graphic novels. Those are my top genres of my 50 books. I've read 4 graphic novels because that's another genre that I haven't been reading much and I wanted to like try, branching out. So I did the thriller, I did, graphic novels.
Right.
And yeah. So I did 4 graphic
Yeah.
novels, I did 4 historical fiction, I did 5 sci-fi, 5 thriller, 8 contemporary, 8 literary, 13 romance, and 20 for fantasy. Now, if you add that, it's going to come up to like 71, not 50, because some of them are like multi-category. Some are like
Right.
historical fantasy or thriller
Right.
romance. I actually read a thriller romance, which sounds ridiculous. It was so good. I give it like 4.5 stars. Really good.
So Nabil uses Goodreads for the same reason I do, because it
Okay, okay,
automarks
okay.
my Kindle books as complete. But I wonder if Storygraph interacts with the
I don't
Kindle
think
app
so.
as
It's because
well,
Goodreads is owned by
owned by
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of stick with that because I'm trying to stick to not stick to, but I will read big authors. I will
Did
read
you
big
see what
authors because
Miguel
I love
said?
them. Yeah, stop trying to
To take Nicola,
take
she's an
Nicola. She's
art
a
freak.
yeah. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. If
Oh my
I
goodness.
go to your Instagram like because you do a lot of you love, because
Yeah.
I love how you present your data.
Yeah.
I think you make a
It's not
really
me doing
good
it. I'm
data.
just I'm just screenshotting Storygraph. They're doing it for me. Like this is my Storygraph here. A little chart? Oh come
Oh,
on. You don't need
okay,
to
I'm
convince
sold.
me.
Sold. Darn you, Jeff Bezos. So I was using Goodreads.
Storygraph is actually owned by a black woman. She is like the sole like creator and developer and whatever. She has a very small
I am
team.
sold. I am sold. I will be I will
You
be
should check it out.
doing.
You should,
I'll
yeah,
check it out for sure.
it's an
But like I was saying,
amazing app.
I've been using the like when I'm finished with the book on Kindle,
Yeah,
because we know how lovely and expensive
yeah.
shipping physical books to Trinidad is. So when I'm done reading that, you can post to Amazon and Goodreads. Yeah, the charts
The
thing is
trust thing
like
is Jamie.
I was sold with charts. As
Go
soon
and
as I
look
was
it
told,
up.
yeah,
It
I will
also at
definitely
the
be
end
doing
of the
that.
month, it generates a little graphic for you that will wrap up all your stats, and it's so cute. It generates a calendar to show you how you've read throughout the month. I'm
Aw.
selling this app so hard. It's please check it out. It's so worth it.
This moment was not sponsored by Storygraph.
But
Right?
it
This
could
is an
be.
authentic reaction to the
It could
app.
be. Reach out
Yeah,
to us.
it could be. Well, Nicola going to go over to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, I've been using the one on Goodreads because it's right there, and Amazon
Mhm.
uses Goodreads to push books in their
Yeah,
algorithm. And that's where a lot of these smaller authors or authors that go to like more independent and small publishing, they use that. That is what they use to generate. So if I can push my smaller authors, my newer
yeah.
authors, right? Because like we one of the books we got, it was book, but it was a book that was just it was just in a box, and it took us in a book box, and it took like 3 years before I found anybody even talking about this author. And this is me in like every comment section. Why have you not read this book? And of course you know what
Hmm.
book that is. I call it all the time, right? Space
Hmm.
Between the Worlds. Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, because it was so tightly written, and the tropes in it were just
Also, the main character in Space Between Worlds is bisexual, and Bisexual Visibility Day is next week Monday. I think Monday. Next week Monday. I think.
when the day comes, if you can see on it,
Yeah.
if you can see your
If you
bisexual
could
friends
see
on that
me
day, right?
on Monday, then
It's
Bisexual Visibility Day is on
yeah,
Monday.
on Monday. I love that book so much.
I know.
When her love interest deported her to save her, it was just this book. Like Miguel could tell you, I was literally screaming throughout this book. Not at the end, throughout this book.
Yeah. No, it was really good. It was really good. I'm gonna reread
I've
it
never
soon.
had a book that made me scream out like that. I don't even have exes that made. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, right? Yeah, so I am looking for smaller authors, right? Book
Yeah.
Talk and the other YouTubers, they can have the bigger
Honestly,
authors.
the only regret I have by not being on Goodreads is so that because I can't put my reviews there. And it's the only thing I regret because I know I've started reading arcs. I joined NetGalley, and you've joined NetGalley now too.
Yes.
I roped
Yes.
you in. So
Yes.
yeah.
I
Um
recently got my first two books on NetGalley because I
I'm
hadn't
so
yet
happy.
started. I hadn't yet started
Yeah.
the podcast. I had like no kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not doing this thing just yet. So we don't know how we
Yeah.
feel about this. But I do have two books and I will be reviewing those. I might do those, I might film and upload those as opposed to doing lives. But yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
keep it PG-21.
Oops.
Oops. Yeah. So yeah. So
Yeah.
that is us for NetGalley getting asked. And would you like to talk more about getting asked to people who are interested in doing this kind of work, who
Oh my
love books
goodness.
and want to review
If you
books?
want to read books for free, join this amazing website called NetGalley. The only catch is you have to post the reviews somewhere. Anywhere. Storygraph, Goodreads, social media,
YouTube, Facebook,
YouTube, wherever
your
you want.
blog,
You
wherever,
have to
just
post
post.
it. But they
Right.
will give you books for free if you just read them and write a review about it and post it somewhere. They will give you the
And you
book.
can tell them what genres you want to read. You don't have to read genres that you don't enjoy. And there's Christian literature, there's children's literature, there's middle grade books, right? I love middle grade. I love a well written middle grade book. Oh my
One
goodness.
of my all time favorite book series is Middle Grade, and I reread it once a year.
Oh, what you want to share with us what that series is?
It's right on my shelf. You can't see it, it's so far away. It's Septimus Heap by Angie Sage.
Okay.
It
Nice.
is literally middle grade. It's like written for like 9 year olds. And I
Yeah.
reread that entire 7 book series every single year.
Mm.
It is like, I don't know, it has my whole heart. I love it so much. It's my comfort series. Like if
Right.
I'm feeling sad, if I don't feel like reading anymore, like this is what I go to. I always fall back on
Right.
this and I read these books. I mean, I started reading them, of course, ages ago, like when it came
Right.
out, when I,
Uh-huh.
was very young. But I still read that every year. I read that book series, the
And for people
entire
who
thing.
don't understand what middle grade books are, they're books that are targeted towards readers of, middle grade US
US
and
schooling,
US
yeah.
middle grade. But for an equivalent, things that are targeted towards middle grade people, children, would be things like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Um, Technically, Naruto is geared towards that age group as well,
Really?
right? Yeah, shonen, younger. So like he's
I mean,
remember
it
they
makes
start
sense. I
the
started
first
Naruto in
one, the
Form 1.
first Naruto, not Naruto Shippuden, Naruto,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah,
right? So that is that area, right? How to
yeah.
Train
Yeah.
Your Dragon. That is middle grade.
Don't even talk about that. Don't even talk about that.
We could be here actually be nearly up on an
No,
hour.
that's exactly why I said don't even talk about that.
That's
We
a
can have
whole
a whole
next.
stream for How to Train Your Dragon. We'll do that another time.
But yeah, that is middle grade. So
Yeah.
feel free to start looking at middle grade titles for yourself. Be selfish, right? Be the cool auntie, be the cool uncle, be the cool neighborhood, whatever, right? You have those books. There's a series that I won't name because of the controversy
Yes,
with the author, but
that's middle grade.
my dad had a student that he had a student and I was a whole ass adult, and this was a child, right? Like seeing the inside of a secondary school for the first time, and they were sharing with me that series. They just wanted somebody to read it with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what I did. And if you want to encourage children to read, you need to read with them. And not necessarily the two of you sit with a book, but they read it independently to you, and you have a conversation with them, and you have a conversation with them, and you let them talk and rave about it. And oh, did you see this? I like that, but I don't like this, but I love that. And you will get these. One, that it's going to increase their respect for you. Two, they're more likely to come to you. You will be, you're more likely to become, you know, if you read with your own children, you are going to end up with children that trust you because they
I
know that they
think
can have a conversation with you.
I think that's the reason I read so much and I've always loved reading. My mother used to like she used to push books. Like
Yeah.
she read to me before I was born and she read to me a lot as a child and she encouraged reading to the point where, she regretted it later on in her life because I just would not put a book down. I
What
was
is
carrying
that?
books everywhere and it was very annoying. Like I would be sitting down at the dinner table like this.
Yeah, because you're not finished reading.
Exactly.
Would
But
she put
you
food
can't
on the
complain.
table? Would
You
she put
rather
food
I
on
do
the
drugs?
table
I'm
and she's
reading.
not finished cooking? No. She put food on the table and she's not finished cooking? No. Okay?
Exactly. I have to
So why
finish.
should you put your book down and you're not finished reading? I think that's selfishness. Oh my god. This was so much fun. This and we could
Yeah.
you and I could definitely go for a whole other hour.
We could
But
talk forever.
forever. That's why we're friends. But in the comments when the stream has ended, feel free to put the books that have made you who you are. Put the
Yes,
authors
please.
that you would auto buy. Tell me the genres. Tell me the tropes that are
What's your
your
favorite book of
favorites.
all time? Or what's your favorite book of the year? Or what's just a good book that you read recently?
Yeah, like what when I say read a give me a recommendation. What book pops into your mind?
Let me give you a recommendation actually before we leave.
Uh huh.
Everybody and their mother, everybody and their dog just recommend this book. I finally say, let me read this book. I finally sit down and say, let me read this book. Do you want to read an anime? Do you want to feel like you sit down reading an anime?
Yes.
Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. Sword of Kaigen. The Sword of Kaigen. Please, I read this book, I think, beginning of September. Yeah, beginning of the month. This book, as soon as I read the first paragraph, I knew it was going to be a 5-star read. As soon as I finished the first chapter, I was like, damn it, this is the book of the year. Nothing going to top
Wow.
this.
It is available on
I
Kindle
mean,
for $5.99,
buy it.
and it
Buy it.
and there yeah. So this has been highlighted by 2,109 Kindle readers. Wholeness, she
Buy it.
revealed, was
Please
not the
look.
absence of pain, but the ability to hold it. Listen,
Read this
I'm buying
book.
it now. I'm buying it now. I have
Buy the book now.
done. Done.
It
Thanks,
was
Nicola.
such an
Thanks.
incredible experience. I read this book and the disappointment I felt because I knew I would never read a better book than this.
That was me with Space Between the Worlds. Space Between Worlds.
You will love this book. You will cry. I cried. But I don't usually cry over books, right? Like, I'm a very emotional person, but I don't really cry when I'm reading a book. I sobbed big man tears. I
We have three
swear.
books. R.I.P. Miguel Wallet. Okay. Well, if you're so concerned about his wallet, you are free to buy me that book yourself.
It's a standalone
So I think we
fantasy.
have
It's
three.
kind
I
of
think we.
sci-fi-ish, but it's
Oh, I'm gonna love it.
fantasy.
Mostly
It's
fantasy.
Asian inspired. There's like Japanese and
Hmm.
Korean, mostly East Asian inspired. There's a little bit of South Asian too. There's like a Indian
Right.
inspired character. Oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
love him. You're gonna eat this up. So good. It felt like I was watching an anime, like the best anime I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I was reading this book, and when I would put it down, I would just be thinking, was that show I was watching? I had to go back and watch that show. No, it was a book. I was just vividly hallucinating. But it was so good.
So if I hear you correctly, you and I have three books that we're going to read together. That we're going
Yes.
to come on stream with, and that is Micaiah Johnson. Those
Yes.
Beyond the Wall. It's
Yes.
House of Leaves, right?
That's a big
We
one, but we'll try.
that I'm pushing. How about we do that this at the end of November? Do you think you'll be able to get that done?
No.
I'll sweet talk Nabila into doing House of Leaves with me then. So that one and this one. This
Yes.
one, right? Which
Please.
is The Sword of Kaigen.
Please, when you read this book, just message me. Just message me and let me know.
I think I'll be sending you 4,000 voice notes, about 20 minutes
Do it.
long each time. I
I
think we
want to
will.
hear. I will open back my copy and I will while I'm listening to your voice notes screaming about this book, I will just be reading along, be like, yes, yes. I read this book this month and I have to reread it again soon. I
Okay,
just read the book and I can't get enough. I want more.
I
And
love
this is
that.
self-published, like indie author.
That is what I was saying. That is why I'm looking at the smaller authors, because
Yeah.
we do have our big authors that will give us, that they will deliver. I know it, you know it, they know it. But there's an author out there, and I think so. I just haven't found someone's best author yet. I think so. I think so. So anyway, Julie, thank you so much
I
for
am
your time.
so proud of you for doing your
Oh,
live
thank you.
stream. You've been doing so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. And I'm so happy to be here. Please have me back for
I
another
will.
stream. I
I
hope your
definitely
audience
will.
didn't mind hearing me yap about about
I
books.
mean, they come here to hear us yap,
Yeah.
right? And they know they need to. So it's on them if they didn't like
Yeah.
it. But I have good people. I have good people in my life, which means I'm gonna have good people in the comments. So this is
Yeah.
Miguel's co-worker or former co-worker. Look, one of his children. This one of Miguel's children. Right? R.I.P. Miguel
Okay.
Wallet. And this is Miguel's response. She has a budget. It's called the entire salary. And that is why Miguel will always be husband of the year.
Husband of the year.
Husband of the
Wow.
year.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed by that response, Miguel.
That, as the Mandalorian would say, this is the way. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the stream right now. Please stay tuned, same bad time, same bad channel. Next week I will have Susan Palumbo on the stream, and we will be discussing Skin Thief, and I'm gonna see if we can talk a little bit about Countess. Right?